How does someone politely end a conversation with a person who won't stop talking? I read one of those mildly interesting newspaper features recently with an etiquette expert. Their advice was, rather than make an excuse, you should be more direct that you are ending the conversation and say something like, "I've really enjoyed talking with you. I'm going to circulate around the room now, as it's less likely to create an expectation you might come back." It does work too. I wish I had said this at a trade show. A retired person was going on and on about things he did back in his day. It was slow, so I didn't mind at first. But after about 20 minutes, I ran out of ways to act interested. So I said, "Excuse me. I need to get some water," which had the virtue of being true. However, when I turned around at the water station, he had followed me over and picked up without missing a beat. Greater than so I said, "Excuse me. I need to get some water." You didn't follow up with "to drown you with," so he would get the hint. Shh. My turn. This only works if you stroke their face at the same time. Edit. Thanks for the silver. I will throw it in a pond and wish you good luck. I've had someone do this to me before. I just did it back to them. Drop an enormous, 90 decibel, pants rattling fart while maintaining eye contact. Then smack your lips together to gesture that you can taste it. And say you can detect an oaky afterbirth to show you are sophisticated. Mental health worker here. I see patients every day who will talk forever if you don't stop them. You simply have to interrupt and redirect or end the conversation. I always politely tell them, "Let me stop you there," or "Let me jump in there." Sometimes you have to be abrupt, or else you will be held hostage by the one-sided conversation. I know it's dubious to ask advice over Reddit, but is this a sign of declining mental health? I know a handful of people who are very far along in life, and I could tell them I have to go because my house is burning down, and they have to tell me 2 more stories about how Margaret's house burned down in '65 and she made the best soup and blah blah blah. Not always. Those who are manic or who have ADHD can talk excessively, or sometimes it's just an anxious response. Some people just talk a lot. I have a good friend who is very down to earth and, as far as I've always been aware, mentally stable, but the girl can talk. Like, my eyes will be glazing over and she will just keep talking. I just think she has so much to say she can't keep it in. Her whole family is the same way. Use the Ben Carson method. "Oh no, my luggage / walk away / I have an annoying housemate who never shuts up. Tried everything, nothing worked. Now I just kinda grunt as a response and walk out of the room." Man shrugging. "I have to return some videotapes. But Blockbuster closed years ago." Continues talking. "Oh no, Blockbuster didn't have these videotapes." Winks. "Oh. Someone wants you over there." Gestures across the room. "Oh, who? Me?" Hush them really loudly and keep doing it if they keep talking. We have a great line that we use in Ireland. I haven't heard it used abroad, but it could well be used all over for all I know. The person is rabbiting on and is showing no sign of stopping. You clearly and firmly say, "I'll let you go." Then, with the confidence of a person doing them a favor, you turn on your heel and stride away. This has the effect of making them think you are the one wanting to avoid wasting their time. If they figure it out, they can't call you out on it, because to do so would be to admit, at least to themselves, that they are wasting your time. In fact, most people never allow themselves to think it might be them who is holding you up, so they accept the offer of your leaving in order for them to get on with their important work. In general, if someone says, "I'll let you go" to me, rare but it has happened, I smile and say bye and end the conversation. It is a social convention and I abide by it. They want out. No ego. Let them go, and the best of luck to them. People appreciate that, I imagine. We have something like that in Germany that translates to "I don't want to keep you any longer." Edit. The phrase is "Ich werde dich nicht länger aufhalten." For everyone who was wondering which phrase I am talking about. The problem with that is 9 times out of 10 the people talking on and on at you will say, "Oh, I have plenty of time," and you're still screwed. Tell them you are having a rather heavy period and must go to the restroom before you bleed all over yourself. And if you're a guy, try to sound extra confident. Anne was getting a little chummy. When people get too chummy with me, I like to call them by the wrong name to let them know I don't really care. Ron Swanson. I don't know who this Ron Swanson guy is, but I like him. In a non-sexual way, of course. You must be his best friend, then. You guys still never talk sometimes? So this method is contextual, but I have found it works in a lot of situations, especially in an office location, or more generally in a location where the offending talker has a place to go back to. So this is how it works. Usually someone will come into my office and stand in the doorway and start talking. I listen politely for a bit, and then if they don't get the cues to leave, I do some obvious things, like start working on my computer, and then playing on my phone. Just some physical social cues to let them know that this is over. But some people don't get that, so in those cases where it's happening, I casually stand up, let them continue the conversation, and sometimes I give them an "oh yeah," and while walking out of my office, I walk to their office, and then, almost all of the time, they will go into their office first, and then they will sit down. That then gives me the ability to politely say something and leave their office. I call this method the walking them home method. Again, it can work anywhere. If a sibling is annoying you in your room, stand up and walk them towards their room, and they will migrate to their space, and then you leave. If you are at work, walk them to their space and let them settle, and then you leave. I use this method at least 3 times a week with some folks, and they literally have no idea. But what if you're in an open plan office and they are sitting across from you at the same table? I've had this happen, and there's not much recourse. I just interrupt and say coffee, walk with them to the coffee machine, get a cup, and say nice chatting. I better get back to work. Then put my headphones on ASAP. Right. Great. Listen, I got to go wash my crotch, I'll see you later. Edit, obligatory thanks for the silver. Still don't understand it, but thanks anyway. I find myself leaning at a 45-degree angle, indicating the direction I'd like to go. Surgery. I'm late for surgery. I used to work on a team with a guy who'd Asperger's and some related issues processing social cues. He would get started on a subject and just talk at people for 30 minutes plus without pausing for breath. He didn't get the cues that people were losing interest and would continue indefinitely unless you directly interrupted and told him to stop. He wouldn't be offended and generally appreciated being told he should have stopped. It was almost a rite of passage in the office to endure an extended one-way lecture about his choice of bathroom tiles or the benefits of all-weather road tires over winter tires, etc. I have mild Asperger's and I experience both ends of this, as extroverts tend to adopt me, which I like. The cues are basically another language which we don't pick up as easily as holistic people. I can sometimes spot the micro-expressions, but it doesn't mean I know what to do with them. So would rather be told to finish up than know I'm making someone feel bored/uncomfortable and not know what to do with it. I have a dear extrovert friend at uni who will talk the hind legs off a donkey. Last time we met I tried to end the conversation with an arm stretch and "I'd better go work on my sketchbook." To which she replied, "Oh, can I see your sketchbook?" There went another half hour. Her son handles situations like this with, "I'm not being funny, Mum, but can you go now?" So I understand the issues with social cues being difficult to spot, but what about adopting as a truism that if you're talking with someone and they don't say a word in a 2 to 3 minute period, you should probably just pause, ask them if they have anything to say, or ask if they're still interested in the topic/conversation, and then continue based on their response. If you talk at length and the other person never gets a word in almost 100% of cases, the other person is either bored and wants to leave or would like to say something but you're not allowing them to. It depends on the context, like most things. Who is the person to you? Random person on the street? Just tell them you're busy and walk away. Co-worker? Politely explain that they need to stop talking so you can work. Dude at the gym? Tell him you're going to do your set. If he still doesn't stop talking, just put your headphones on and start lifting. Generally, if it's someone you aren't going to see often, whether they think you're rude or not isn't really important. Just tell them you're busy and just walk away or continue what it is you were doing. If it's someone you see often / can't avoid, friend, co-worker, classmate etc., tell them that they need to stop talking so you can do what you're meant to be doing. They probably aren't aware that they could be annoying people. They'd probably appreciate the wake-up call. Adding on this, I had a roommate who would talk without end, but I sat down and politely explained that, though I do enjoy conversing with them, I do need time of my own to recharge. If it's a roommate or friend, it's probably best to let them know you just need some time for yourself. Sorry, I have to go walk my cat. Lol, I had a friend who called me. I didn't really want to talk to him at the time, so I said I need to close the fridge, I'll talk to you later. I'm a head out. Leaves own house. FRTO, depending on the situation / relationship, it can send a hilariously clear message. Hand them one of these. https://eel_795/134496624/eel_10094xn.13446z.k.jpg. I'll give the opposite advice. If you think your friends are always thirsty, have weak bladders, or get weird sudden strokes of to-do lists all the time, you talk too much. Edit, I'd thank you guys for the karma, but, I've got to get a drink and, like a lot. Also, I just remembered I gotta call grandma. But I actually do have a weak bladder. But I actually do get weird sudden strokes. Worst case I've ever had, I basically gave every verbal cue I knew of, eventually stood up, then stood in the doorway, then backed out of the doorway. And this dude was still talking. In the end I just said I'll be back and closed the door on him mid-sentence. My dad's like this. When I was a kid / teenager, he'd follow me to every room of the house talking at me. If I went to the bathroom, he'd stand outside and continue talking to me through the door. If I had to leave, like to go to school, I would literally leave the house and he'd stand in the doorway and continue talking as I walked down the path and out of sight. He still does this when I go back home to visit. It wouldn't be so bad if he'd actually be willing to have a conversation. But he only talks at you. If you try and say anything, he just talks over you as if you haven't said a thing. I'm annoyed. Oh, I'm sorry, but I ought to hurry, I got generic excuse. We can talk later. Did you just say generic excuse? Well, yeah. But, emergency backup explanation. I have a friend who does this and he tends to drink a lot. It gets to the point where he literally will talk over you. I once sat on my phone while he talked to me for 5 hours straight. No joke, didn't even pause. I was going to sleep on his couch once and he kept talking. I was wrapped up in a blanket while he stood over me, talking. I had to drive away and sleep in my car. This is a typical work day for him. On the weekends he'll stay up 2 days straight, drinking and talking. Sometimes he uses an app that'll connect him with random people to talk to. I think he needs a therapist. That sounds fucking awful. Drunk people who don't STF you are next level annoying. I've never understood how any bartender can stand dealing with that on a regular basis. Yo bitch, shut the fuck up. They asked politely. Yo bitch, please shut the fuck up. Shh. Do you hear that? No? 1 sec, and just run off. As a parent, this actually happens. Which one are you? I don't mean to interrupt, but it's got to be done, so just do it. They need a break anyway. This is the right answer. You simply need to interrupt them, apologize for doing so and let them know you need to do something else, which is still a little awkward, because I don't actually have something else to do. I just want to do nothing without having to listen to them. If you know them well enough, a hand on the arm or shoulder will get someone to stop talking long enough for you to make your exit. Not needed though. It's been so great talking to you, but I'm late for something. I'm gonna try that. Just put my hand on their shoulder and stare deeply into their eyes without saying anything. I'm sure it won't be creepy. Don't forget to lick your lips, that makes it completely non-creepy. Fake a phone call. First, PM someone to call you. Then as your phone rings, just politely apologize and make your exit. Don't make the mistake of attempting audibly the ring yourself. Unless you're Michael Winslow, it will immediately backfire, defeating the whole purpose of the distraction. To'ururu oi, bossu. Listen for the briefest pause when they talk BC they got a breath at some point and say, hey listen, I really gotta go to the bathroom, I've been holding it in forever and I might just shit right here. Voila. Greater than BC they got a breath at some point, you haven't met my mom and some members of her family. And the shit thing doesn't work with one of them. I've learned to hang up on people. I'm an Uber driver. I was once summoned to pick up 2 people for just this reason. They had me drive 4 blocks /25 miles /1.5 minutes to another bar just to get out of a conversation with someone. Minimum fare, $3.75, and $10 tip on the app. I would gladly tip $10 to get me out of a terrible, inescapable conversation. Just curious, did the app have the $10, or did they choose to tip that amount? The tip is voluntary and user set.